already been selected their own very specific targets, and they can't just casually change their target and go to that one person within a snap of the fingers.
Right. So again, it's the planning, right? And because if you look at their composition, there is no shortage of tools that Team Falcons meta can use to force the hand of ONIC. They have the taunt from the Galakacha, they have the Abyssal Arrow, they have the Tsunami Slam, they even have the built-in stun that the Suyo has, right? So there's all these ways for them to start a fight. But if you look at how they were playing as if they had only one single engage tool. They were looking for an Abyssal Arrow, and that's about it. We didn't really see a big catch with the Tsunami Slam either. So I do feel like they have to try and diversify. Because if you're going with a single approach, with only one single way of playing the game, a team like ONIC is so experienced, they're gonna just find a solution on how to deal with you. And if you don't adjust on the fly, then game one is gonna repeat itself very, very easily.
The scary part about these experienced teams is that they can come up with solutions on the fly because they have went through these scenarios before, time and time again, during their scrims and during their games, right? So you gotta have to outplay them in the best way possible and perhaps think outside the box, perhaps a little bit. But there are still definitely some things that they gotta have to adhere to, right? If your team plays for crowd control, if your team plays for kickoff and catch, then you have to work on that. You have to arrange that.
The immortal one chose me to
you have
vanquish
to
the
clear.
shadows that
The moment
plague
that
this
Kalia
world.
finds a perfect Tsunami Slam, you can actually set up a pretty good Abyssal Arrow to follow up on top of that. And perhaps if there wasn't enough time for the Abyssal Arrow to land, you even have the Gadokacha's taunt to keep them in the same spot. And that will be more than enough time for the Abyssal Arrow to eventually land.
Yeah, the layering of the crowd control, because they have so many, is also something that didn't happen. Ryota on the Hilda really should be punished. I mean, there are some times where he just dove right into 4 people. With just relying on the fact that, okay, I can survive long enough, I can get out of this, and if they focus me for too long, the team can do something. But there were so many moments where it really felt like he was overstaying his welcome, and he wasn't punished for it at all. So that is something that Team Falcons meta can definitely look to try and do. In this game number 2 though, Loyi respect Ben immediately with the Suyo, and they have taken that mob away from Severo, and they have located at Sushin as well. So not bad at all. In fact, ONIC going with the Joy, we saw just earlier in the pre-show that this Joy isn't really as high up in the pick list any longer compared to the Suyo. So that's a bold move by ONIC to go for that. And now that they've let go of the Sushin, that's important, and the signature hero for Severo on that Moskov, you do wonder what the idea is going to be.
Now, with the Joy that is actually seen from the side of ONIC, there is a couple of ways that they can draft against this Joy, right? Although it will be pretty early to kind of go all in already, but the fact that there is a Kalia as well as the Yves actually diversified quite a bit of things for ONIC, right? Perhaps a bit more control in the middle lane is more than necessary. I think the Falcons may not really need that lane priority if they want to deny the opponents of rotations, influence in the other lanes. Yves has got a very good priority in the middle lane, so the moment that you're able to push the Yves in a breaking point, you get yourself away from mid lane, take control of river, try to invade enemy jungles just so that the Joy will not be able to bounce from jungle creeps to your lane is utmost priority.
For Team Falcons meta though, with the Yves in the picture, this is a known counter for the Sushin. You can't get zoned out because you have so much range. You can kite back away from the Sushin because you can slow and you have your own movement speed boost. It is very difficult to try and get a Lantern Flare lift onto the Yves, by the way. So that's just why it works so well. And like you mentioned, the wave clear allows you to clear from relative safety too. So the Sushin can't really punish you the way that she wants to in the lane, abusing the spammability of her spells, and the fact that the Lantern Flare doesn't require mana if it doesn't hit any targets. So ONIC, I think, so far has a great trio mid rotation. The side lanes though, right, like you mentioned, Abstract, is where the concern is. With a Moskov that's flexible already, and a Badang, there's so many ways for Team Falcons meta to use that side lane pressure to help for that neutral objective, and they're banning away all these heroes. They can help scout safely. These heroes can escape from the chase of the Badang and the Tsushin, the Hilda and the Cho.
Gato is probably my pick for Rome over to the side of Team Falcon's Mina. Because of the Void Crystal, you want to go eye for an eye, right? So if you're able to go for the blast onto the crypts while the Void Crystal is ongoing as well, if I'm not wrong, their tick damage is relatively similar. So having the Lantern Flare over all these crypts while the blast radius is actually up and on, that will definitely clear up the waves faster than the Eve. Of course, we're not including what Kalia has to bring on the table, since she's not exactly super good at helping middle lane per se. But I mostly want to see the Kalia helping out Joy so that she can be more on curve, or in fact faster in the jungle.
And with the Jawhead pick now, there's gonna be this Rome duo situation where not Orange Bob. I feel like Boro is gonna be trying to go for some of those engages, and it's gonna be in the hands of Keyboy to really stop a lot of those attempts. But now they went for this carry against a team with a lot of punishing mobility, and against the Tsushin, usually the short range is not something you would want. Final pick for ONIC though.
Okay. Blue. So they will want to focus on their lanes as well. They want to ensure that they have a good time in the lane, at least for ONIC. So they will want that map control as much as possible. I do like the combination with the Kalia plus the carry. We have definitely seen that before. You don't need to have the carry overextend just to get a kill, right? The Kalia brings the people over to you on that very fact, and perhaps even get a decent amount of heals as long as the passive is constantly proccing from the side of Kalia. And not to forget, good amount of area control when it comes down to the Eve. I think that ONIC, they have a lot of AoE to work with, and even if they want to play pickoff, the carry is there to ensure that the pickoff actually could work.
We'll lose everything.
Don't forget about the Joy as well, still in the picture, but that's a Ling.
Wow!
Huh? Okay. Bold move right here, bringing out the Ling against the Samsung Ling himself. But let's see how that works out, man. With the Ling now, they have the mobility, and they have the Moskov too, so they have a lot more macro angles to play with. If ONIC wants to kind of match them in this game, they have to watch out for the wave management and the rotations around the map, because that's exactly where Falcon's Mina is putting all their resources in.
I would say there is an improvement in the drafting, just so that things are easier to pilot, right? Now they're looking at a Jawhead into a juicing combination in the very early stage of the game. They know that they will be able to get a couple of pickoffs, liftoffs, and, well, throws here and there. So I would definitely say that Kalia as well as Eve would want to be very cautious in the middle lane, and in an entire teamfight scenario, just going in from teamfights itself is so easy to go with the Unstoppable Force, considering that it's a point-click ability.
I do feel like Team Falcon's men are gonna struggle a bit with the lack of damage though, because they do have Boro on this Jawhead who can use the passive of the Jawhead and get like extra 10% damage. It's like a free focusing mark. But who's exactly gonna seal the deal here and get the kills? Is it the Moskov? Right? Is it the Tsushin? These are all heroes that don't really do a lot of burst damage. So the concern is they're gonna go for someone, take too long to get the kill secured, and ONIC can strike back because again they have so much mobility and they have good ways to chase down and have area control. But look at Ryota, forced to flicker already very, very early on.
I would agree with you when the mid game happens. I would bank a lot of the fact that the smart missiles would do most of the damage, and hoping that Leave Me will come in time with the Tempest of Blades in order to seal the deal. May not be an executioner, but at least he does have the mobility to follow up with most of these engagements. And because whenever you see Leave Me on the wall, I think it's relatively fair to say that Team Falcon's Mina would want to look out for an opportunity for a battle.
That's a fair assumption for sure. So with that being said, with the fact that we already highlighted now, once this turtle spawns, that's where I think ONIC at least will be looking to try and make a move. Right now, they're just playing it relatively safe. You can see the positioning for scouting from ONIC, but look at this, Tempest of Blades.
I'm not too sure if whether that was entirely necessary. So now there is no Tempest of Blades for the upcoming turtle, which is going to be spawning at the bottom side. So this is actually going to be a pretty free turtle for Kyrie. I think that was an ill-timed Tempest of Blades with no dividend up in the top. So it's really unfortunate. Perhaps they gotta have to understand the timing a little bit more, but in the meantime, Keyboy goes down to the hands of Sensei. So it is a 1-for-1 trade. It is a mid laner it is a roamer that went down, but unfortunately Boro gets traded out too. And Koba might potentially go down? No, okay. It just required one more hit for the proc.
That was close, man, but you smoked too soon. ONIC strike back immediately. Sans on the Eve. He's known for these crazy picks where he has to go in aggressively, like the Tsushin, like the Kaditas, you know. But on these high ground mages, like the Farsa, like the Eve, he's actually very, very good because his knowledge on positioning and his ability to read the opponent's movements comes in very handy in those situations. But ONIC, they're starting to get some ground here. Even these Lithos are actually falling to the hands of ONIC. And Team Falcon's Mena, even when they go for some of these plays, some of these attempts on the side lanes, most of it has been kind of denied by ONIC. So, funny enough, both teams need to wait for the mid game to execute their plans. Team Falcons with the macro play, potentially with the Moskov and the Ling. And for ONIC, there's some more damage there for them to actually find a lot more of these pickoffs.
And that is going to be an unstoppable force as well as the first ejector, but Keyboy gets himself away with a tsunami slam. Leave Me completely misses the Tempest of Blades just because of the massive amount of mobility that Keyboy has built for himself. He stayed alive throughout the entire onslaught from Leave Me. He's got a good amount of HP to work with and gave the kill over to Kyrie even.
Oh, look at Sans though. Is it done? He flickers out!
Ooh!
Timing on that. The moves, man, the reflexes. Gila Sans gets out. But yeah, dude, ONIC doing great right there. Keyboy abusing the passive. That's the benefit of regeneration, man. That's why the Gatots, the high losses are just so annoying to deal with. 120 HP plus 10% max HP. That is what Keyboy had at his disposal. That's why the Kalia is so deceptive when it comes to those like 1v1 duels.
Damn, oh damn. With the current turtle available for the picking, ONIC has got the control of and the priority of the turtle. Team Falcon's Mina, at this point in time, all of them have got their ultimates except for Sensei. Not too big of a deal. Never mind, he got it back already. If they want to go for the battle, they can definitely go for it. As now, Orange Bob is going to be the one that will be under threat. Savero takes that kill just so easily. Ryota doesn't seem like he will be able to get a full stacks down onto Sensei, but his main job is to push him away. But the rest of the fight is just going to be continuing on. Keyboy does not have got a Tsunami Slam, but never mind because Gila Sans is going to get himself a pretty beautiful chessboard right down to the Boro as well as Cobra. 2 kills in favor for ONIC.
Beautiful dive, man, using the range and using Keyboy, you know, tanking the aggro and then just standing there menacingly as he allows Kyrie to secure the kill there. Team Falcon's Mena, especially when their frontliners aren't really all that mobile, they gotta be careful here. 1v1 by Savero though.
Oh no, I don't think the Savero will go down at all. Look at the damage. Oy! Just a tad little bit more. Just a tad little bit more.
Savero not greeting for it. Has the flicker available, but decides that he might need it later on. It's fine. He'll let Orange Bob 25 survive for another day. But this is what we're talking about, man. The mid game is so dangerous, and they have so much pick potential with the carry true damage burst. Team Falcon's Mena has to be careful when you're sending out Boro or Orange Bob, because if they get hit by a single crowd control tool, they're done for. Savero can chase them down for so far, and it's a done deal.
This is the mid game that we are talking about. The lack of damage is gonna be very evident, as you can probably see right now, as we do have got a pretty good Tsunami Slam that just costed Boro right into the heart of the battle, while Orange Bob 25 is not gonna stay alive from the grasp of Sans. Leave Me joins in the fray, no damage at all, not able to do anything and does not even have the opportunity to Tempest of Blades it up. While up to the top lane, look at Kyrie! A lot of damage from all of these dashes, but he might want to look for a small little opportunity. No. Let's Leave Me go back home while he looks for another angle of attack on Jacoba!
Oh man, Team Falcon's Mena aren't moving together as a team. Koba went there to try and defend the turret 1v3, it seems, with the Spear of Destruction. Maybe he thought that ONIC wouldn't be doing as much damage, but man, he got blown up immediately, man. That is not how you want this mid-game to go. 7 minutes in, already at a 6,000 gold advantage. If Team Falcon's Mena fall behind too far, they won't be able to have that pressure on the side lanes because they can't win the 1v1s. Look at Leave Me, questioning whether or not he can go 1v1 against Severo, and it's only at 7 minutes. This is when the assassins are supposed to actually gain some traction.
Unfortunately, time and time again, Leave Me has not been able to find all these angles to jump over the back lines. And let's be honest here, we don't actually have a lot of angles, and he doesn't have a lot of targets, right? Most of the time, you want to look at a carry. You want to look at a Yve as well. But unfortunately, the Yve already has got himself a pretty big item, okay? So having the Blood Wings is not gonna put him in a difficult spot against the Ling at all. Not at all. So Leave Me now, 0 assassination attempts because he can't do that at all. He needs the farm.
And speaking about farm, man, he just lost his purple buff because ONIC has all the control there. At the single moment Team Falcon's Mena move together to try and even get some vision, immediately the fallout comes through. Boro almost gets taken out, and they're going to be forced to retreat from their own turrets, man. The range and damage potential of ONIC is effectively zoning Team Falcon's Mena. And if they go for the all-in, ONIC is saving all of those big AoE tools for the moment that matters. So ONIC are just playing reactively, and Team Falcon's Mena have no answer, but they might get a turret on the top side right here. So using that split push, this is what they need to be doing more.
Baby steps, baby steps. Now speaking of baby steps, it is one step backwards with Boro trying to take themselves a little bit more control in their own southern jungle, only to have a death onto the side of Boro.
At this point, man, I think Sans already is sitting on a Wishing Lantern, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he does have the Wishing Lantern already.
Bro, the front line is just non-existent. Severo just finished the Marksman Trinity as well. So anyone right now who gets slowed, they have to get left behind. So Team Falcon's Mena, either they go in together as 5 or they sacrifice someone just to get information, not even to get anything of value. And because of that, they can't contest and ONIC get this free Lord, and they still have the better siege on paper.
Now, at least Leave Me is still looking for sideline objectives with all of these split pushes.
Oh man.
Top lane T2 did manage to... Wait, that was just like less than 1 second. He didn't have... He lost more than half HP already?
That's like 2 passive procs, dude. That's the carry power spike. Orange Bob though.
Oh, the freeze break just gonna be landed right on top of Ryota, but throughout he ate the entire thing, man. He ate the entire thing. But in the meantime, we're just gonna be looking at Leave Me. Huh?
Yeah, well, Leave Me, I guess says Leave Me, and he got left right there. He got his purple buff, by the way, but then he stuck around to try and get the kill onto Ryota. And now he won't be around for the defense. 16 seconds before he's up. ONIC, they can go for an end angle, dude. They are that far ahead. 10k.
Yep, that is going to be a spinning trident from the side of the Lord, trying to bring down the T1 right now. Ryota does not have a lot of HP to work with, so that is going to be one of the front lines that is already more or less not in the game. But there is still Keyboy though. The Tsunami Slam is still available. Anyone from the side of Falcon's Mena that overextends is and will be pulled right in. But they're gonna play it safe, even for ONIC Indonesia themselves.
And Team Falcons has to be even more careful because just earlier, like maybe a minute ago, we saw that Keyboy has picked up a fleeting time. So he wants to go for these pickups again and again, dude. He wants to be active, and it's gonna be on such a low cooldown that Team Falcons Mena can't really predict it.
And RWM catching on the 2-person, and Keyboy got some pretty nice knockup. So that right now, Sensei as well as Koba is not going to be available for this upcoming fight, allowing ONIC Indonesia to have a pretty good time to bring down the T3 up in the top lane. Leave Me joins in the fray for a tad a little bit. Use the Temple of Blades for defensive matches, and now wait, no, don't go for it, Team Falcon's Mena, don't go for it. You need to fall back. Whew.
Look at the kite potential, dude. That is ridiculous. Team Falcon's Mena use the conceal, use everything to try and get something, to try and punish ONIC for overextending without Ryota after he gets taken out. But look at what happens, man. They get chunked out of the conceal by Sans. They get slowed. Kyrie dashes away. They just can't get any easy catches at all, man. That's where Boro and Orange Bob are supposed to kind of play a role. But now because they have no control, it's just way too difficult. And looking at the disparity in gold, Koba is not at the marksman trinity, and Severo has already secured the malefic gun. If you thought that it was going to be tough to catch Severo before, it is just going to be infinitely worse right now.
Oh man, he's almost full slaughtered. But in the meantime, in the southern jungle, Boro almost got away. But it is going to be the projectiles that will be chasing him to the ends of the earth. Orange Bomb 25 is going to be the next person onto the chopping block. While Koba, very good speed of destruction, just so that he will be able to run in the opposite side. Buys a little bit time, but he still went down in the end, leaving Leave Me as the last member remaining. He tries to proxy in the middle lane, but unfortunately he leaks out one single unit. And that one single unit, that melee unit, will help ONIC to end the game.
And that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Again, a dominating performance. We all saw it coming, but again, a great display of just